I hope we have sound. I trust we have sound. Can you guys hear me? Hey, Tim, hey, Joshua, Adrian, Sandy. I'm hoping the chat is good. Thank you, Sandy. But are you able to hear me? That is the important thing. Oh. We have major issues. I don't know what is going on. Definitely not tech savvy, so I apologize. Hi, Karen. Michael, hello. How are you? I do apologize, guys, at all. I'm lucky I can turn on my computer. So you guys, awesome. That is exciting. So how is everybody doing? I know that there is a gap with the people that are in step one, waiting to get into step two. We are just polishing off some of the modules, and we are starting that very, very soon. But there are a lot of people who haven't started step one yet, and there are also people who are slowly going through it, as well as the people that are in step two. So I think the delay is we're just going to wait to push a bigger group through, which is okay. I'm sure it's okay. So how is everybody? How are we doing? Just expand this a little bit. There we go. I went into OB and my step two is now locked. What do you mean your step two is now locked? Did you lock yourself out, or is it just because it hasn't started yet? I don't think you would have locked yourself out, right? Because you got an entirely different code to get into step two. Yeah, so 4 days. So yeah, perfect. Yeah, so we are starting step two in 4 days, which is awesome. It's exciting. I've already done step two. But you're waiting to go into step three, right, Karen? Yes. You guys finished step two, so you're waiting to go into step three? I've had 1 day with only mine. You want to talk about them, John? I would love to hear about it. Correct, yes. Killian, hello, my friend. How are you, buddy? So I do want to hear that, Joshua. What's going on? This chat here is more personal. It's more private. So you can feel free to speak here. Yes, and we don't mind waiting to join larger groups. It'll be fun. It's definitely going to be a lot of fun because there are a lot of people going through step one and a lot of people that are signed up for step one. So we got a lot of people going through it and a lot of people signed up for it. So we're just trying to kind of bunch it up a little bit. Michael Donnelly, hi, Anthony. Miss you, brother. Michael, my friend, I miss you too, buddy. How have you been? Last we spoke, you were doing your certification, right? To help people. I remember that. I remember you were going through that. How is that going? I know you're doing your sponsorship stuff. What does step one contain? So step one is the be present, be aware. So step one, really, the objective is where we're headed. We talk about SMART goals. We talk about roadblocks, little things like writing lists. We get into mind maps. We talk about the science of mind maps and how these things work. We talk about taking ownership, really, in step one. It's a lot of fun. It's really just opens your eyes up to what are your triggers. It's a lot more educational. It's a lot more educational. Step one really just opens up your eyes a lot. And it talks about internal factors versus constantly blaming the external. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. I was able to get out of the house and walk into Walmart without panic, only a few instances of hypervigilance. So that's good, and that's going to be normal. You have all this energy, right? That's inside of you. And normally you would have had that come out in these panic attacks. You got to remember something, Joshua. You're breaking these habits, you're breaking these patterns. So it's going to be there. Anxiety will exist. It's going to still exist. In fact, sometimes it might come out more because we're doing things that we might not normally have done. We're doing things that are out of our comfort zone. So with anxiety, we know that we build these comfort zones. And anytime we're stepped out of those boundaries, obviously, right, anxiety kicks in. So what this is doing is really taking you back outside of those boundaries and allowing you to realize that you can still expand your comfort zone. You're going to feel safe because it's really teaching you that you are in full control, right? So yeah, so keep in mind with that the energy will still be there. The energy is going to come out, and it just gets easier and easier and easier. We all know that with time, it definitely gets easier. So, Joshua, if you've only had one day that you had a minimal issue, I think, brother, that's great. That's great. You got to keep doing it. You got to keep moving forward. Listen, we're all going to have anxiety. It's going to happen because there's a lot of patterns that we need to break. For 30 years, I couldn't fly. So I had 30 years of a pattern of a mindset that I set. So even though I flew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think I've flown 8 times since then, 6 times. So I've flown out 6 times since then. And it's still hard because I'm looking at 30 years of a mindset versus, an hour to get to the airport and build up with that anticipation. So even now we are flying out. So we have a lot of TikTok meets. Yes, TikTok meets. We have been invited to 2 separate meetups in Las Vegas. So we are flying to Las Vegas in April. Then in June, we are doing our own big TikTok meetup that you all know of. That will be in Florida. Then we are going to New York. So don't kid yourself. The anxiety would still be there for me. But I just break it down because I know this is a pattern. This was 20 years of a pattern that I need to break away from. Right. So the more I do it, the easier and easier it gets because, it took me almost 10 years of trying to do it that I couldn't do it. And now it really hasn't been that much. Hang on a sec. Yeah. So yes, so that's where we're at with that. So be mindful. Michael, I'm good. I have started a podcast and talk about recovery and helping people through the 12 steps, and I take them through it in 4 hours. So been busy. Michael, amazing, my friend. I think that's great. Good for you to want to be able to recover and also spend that time to help people because that's important. I think that is extremely important. It's always good to have somebody who's been there, who understands, and who can break things down in a more simpler term. And I know you, Michael, I know you will concentrate also on why the addiction's there. That's something I do. I don't concentrate on the addiction itself per se. It's also important to look at why the addiction is there, right? Eddington, hey, Karen, hi, Michael. How are you and the family? We are amazing, my friend. Amazing. COVID has definitely brought us closer together. It was a great opportunity for us to all work on each other and ourselves. We got a lot of one-on-one time individually, which I think was very, very important because, pre-COVID, you're constantly busy. You are very busy. And don't think that I'm not busy. I'm extremely busy now, but it just made it a little different. And I felt it was important. And that's what I said in the beginning. I said, COVID is something that, we shouldn't take, things for granted and take advantage of it, but it's going to force a lot of people to look in the mirror. So I think it's been a great time. Eddington says steps get reset after they are completed. So the next group starts at day 1. I can email you directly. There you go, Michael. You're an inspiration, brother. And I love you. Love you too, my friend, and so are you. Um, you know, Michael, you had it rough. You know, being coming from addiction and substance abuse. That's tough, brother. That's tough. So not only were you dealing with anxiety and depression, but now you throw addiction into it. It's very tough. So you know what? Kudos to you, my friend. Very brave, very, very, very strong. So thank you. Elda, hello, my dear. How are you? We got your donation, and I am going to see Candace later on to bring it to her, honey. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. She really appreciated that. Thank you. Karen, I don't understand. I have completed step 2. I can't review it now. Well, what do you mean you've completed step 2? You can't review it now. So you want to go back? It does lock out. Because if that was the case, I think the case where it was where once you are completed it during that program, you can't, because I mean it would be as simple as just sending it to somebody else, right? You know, so I'm not sure. Eddington might be able to answer that, but that's what the journals were for. The journals were for, I mean, you got your education through the videos, and then we put a lot of time and effort into those journals. So once you were done with that, just getting that basic knowledge, you were able to go back and read the questions and go through your answers again. Alyssa, so nice to see you here. Thank you for being here. Karen, okay, answer that. Send Eddington an email, and he will be able to answer that for you. Michael, I'm over 8 years sober now. Congratulations. I deal with anxiety. Good for you, buddy. So very proud to hear that. Adrian, my friend, how are you? We talk about mental health and recovery as well, which I think is extremely important. That is great, Michael. It is. Josh, for one, seem more approachable. So I guess that's a great thing. Joshua, yes, it is. You would not believe how many things change when you are able to become more open. There's a lot that goes on that we don't even realize. You know, if I look back to videos, if I look back to pictures when I was suffering from anxiety, it was a normal day. But if you look at that picture, it looked like I can make hell freeze over. So we don't really realize that because we're so in our head fighting this battle that it's almost like we're in a zombie-like state. So people don't want to approach us. The second you're able to be more open and you have that calm peace within you, things change. People will gravitate towards you. So you know what, Joshua, you are, you know, so far I think you're into week 1 or 2 of the app. Wow, good for you. I can't tell you, you know, how much I appreciate you, all of you, when you are taking that much control back and really going full force into this app, jumping in with 2 feet to get these results. Guys, good for you. Remember, this app is designed to help you because we all have it in ourselves. So it's not like this app is changing you or doing anything, you know, miraculous in a sense where it's like, you know, waving a magic wand. This is just helping you get your true authentic self back. So Joshua, I love hearing that, brother. Good for you, man. Alda, perfect, my friend. Love seeing you. Misty, I've been doing house improvements since Hurricane Sally, getting the house taken care of inside and out. Very good. Yard carpets and next getting the house pressure watch. Expensive on my limited income, but happy. And it's great because it's almost like a fresh start, right? It's always good when you guys have stuff like that. I think it's great. Adrian, I just purchased step 2 for myself and Amanda Ball. Wow, that's great. So Adrian, how you finding it? I mean, you know, somebody that you know, Adrian, if I'm not mistaken, you don't have anxiety. Um, you know, how are you finding it? I'd love to see a perspective from somebody who hasn't suffered from chronic anxiety like most of us here. Michael, I wish I could do the steps, but don't have the money. But I will save the money and hope to get on it soon, brother. Absolutely, Michael. Michael, listen, we give away so many in our lives on TikTok. On TikTok, we give away a lot of the apps on our lives. So I would definitely tune into our TikTok lives and you know, play along with the games, play along with some of the giveaways because it's definitely a lot of fun. Giveaways we're doing as well. Okay. Joshua, the thing that helped the most was breaking down the anxiety response to triggers and understanding why I trigger. Huge help. I love hearing that because you hit it, bro. Spot on with anxiety. A lot of times it's difficult to understand that, because we have succumbed to anxiety in such a way that half the time it's like we just don't even know. We know, but we don't. It just becomes like second nature to us to live in this world of anxiety, where it's almost like it takes on part of our personality, and it's important to understand where these triggers are coming from. And even if you're not understanding where the triggers are coming from, what would be a good practice is to understand the triggers itself, how it's making you feel, so you can better acknowledge around you. So it's kind of like when anxiety kicks in and you're out places, a lot of times we don't know what these triggers are, which is fine, but then anxiety will kick in, and we do create more triggers. But the reality is understanding what the triggers do to you to say, okay, I'm scared, I have this fear, anxiety's here, but what's in front of me? Nothing. What can hurt me? Nothing. I've been down this road before. And the more you do it, the more you're going to reprogram that mind. But the only way it's possible to do that is if you stay present and you stay aware. Because if you're not, there's no way you're going to be able to even understand what is happening in the midst of that anxiety attack. Karen, my anxiety has been up and my stomach has been in knots. I had some tests done and came back abnormal. Okay, so there's obviously something, going on there. This could be a series of things, right? That's something that definitely you're going to have to take up with the doctor. But we did say that a lot of times, the stomach will induce huge amounts of anxiety. So this could be something simple as an ulcer. It could be something simple as, say you had blood work done, and your hemoglobin count was off. That could be, that would tell me that there could be some type of ulcer, some type of bleeding, anything with the GI tract. It could be an intolerance that is causing some type of colitis. There's many different factors here. Not to say that it's definitely not going to induce anxiety, because it will. But it's definitely not something I would be overly concerned about, not something to cause anxiety. Get it checked out. Let the doctors do their jobs. Where are we here? So in terms of the steps, how is everybody finding it? Are there any questions? Is there anything that you want me to get deeper into? This is your time, guys. So please, please, please. I know there's a big delay on this, guys, so I am sorry. Is the app that good that nobody has any questions? I hope Roger's listening to this and watching this. We're still live, right? Everybody's still watching, right? Joshua, the stepping out of the comfort zones can be difficult still, so I go through steps. Yes, it's going to be. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be, right? You need to show the anxiety that it doesn't need to be there. It's almost like having a guard dog. If If you're gonna let the guard dog run wild, God knows what's gonna happen. But being able to train it to understand when it's supposed to bark, when it's supposed to growl, and when it's supposed to bite. What I think you, because anxiety, like I've said before, is not a bad thing. Anxiety is designed to protect us. We allowed it to run amok. I don't have any questions, but I am so excited for the next part. Oh, that's great. That is great. Adrian, I do. So can you speak more about you having conversations in your head? Okay, so what do you mean having conversations in your head? Can you give me can you elaborate on that a little bit more? When you're saying having conversations in your head. I spend a lot of time alone, I'm saying, so talking to myself is very difficult to stop. So what's wrong with that though? What do you find that's wrong with talking to yourself? I don't see an issue with that at all. Sometimes when I need an expert opinion, I talk to myself. I seen that on a shirt. It was hilarious. Okay, what did it say? If you see me talking to myself, I'm not crazy. I just sometimes need an expert opinion. But when I was first going through a lot of anxiety and I was in deep into my studies with overcoming it, I would talk to myself constantly. And there was nothing wrong with that. Even when I'm acting and I'm building up a scene. So if I have an audition, what I'll do is I'll always print out my lines and I will go for a walk and I just walk around the block. My neighbors look at me like until they know who I am and what I'm doing. My neighbors looked at me in the beginning like, what's going on with this guy? This is great. This is our neighbor. But I'll walk and I'll talk to myself with my character, or with having anxiety. I'll say, okay, well, what am I scared of flying for? But I've flown before, but I know I'm going to be okay. Okay, so when I get there, what do I think the issue is going to be? And the more I was talking to myself, the easier things got for me. It made a lot of sense because when I've seen these things out loud, I was like, I was just listening to so manipulated by anxiety and how I allowed it to overtake me. And a lot of times, this is the thing. I think, I'm going to be honest with you guys. A lot of times, I think I'm successful in helping people is because I am so open and transparent. They're able to be very, very open and honest with me with zero judgment. And I think the second that they see these things out loud, they realize like, oh shit, wait a second, like this is ridiculous. And that gives them the drive to move forward and try those things. Karen, Adrian, I talk to myself all the time. My coworkers find it quite comical. There you go. Alyssa, I found it hard to do some of the challenges. I've been trying to do them and come out of my comfort zone. So Alyssa, you started step one. If the challenges are hard for you, I think that's a great thing because it's challenging you. And that's the whole point of this. This is a challenge. But you are doing them. Are you not, Alyssa? You are doing them? Because Alyssa, if you're having challenges with these, before you jump into step two, I would love for you to go over step one quickly. You can rush through it, but I would love for you to go over step one again. Adrian, most of the time it's recapping conversations I had that were a little heated, looking for ways to improve how I respond. Okay, I think that is brilliant. Adrian, I think that is absolutely genius. Because you're recapping heated conversations and you're trying to learn and better understand why they got heated, how you could have more of an open mind. I think that's brilliant, Adrian, and I would encourage you not to stop that. Not to stop that. You're improving yourself. I used to think anxiety was a huge monster in my head, and I understand it better. But I am trying to understand combining civilian and soldier. It seems very difficult. Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, Joshua. You are ex-military. You have served. And is that over now? Are you a retired like what I'm asking is, do you have to? Is there a chance that you can possibly get called back? Adrian Rizzo, that is a great technique. Replay bad conversation to make them better for the next one. Absolutely. Yes, good. Okay, so Alyssa, you have been able to do them. So Alyssa, that is important. If you've been doing them, you'll start noticing differences. Have you noticed any differences in yourself? Um, Karen, I think okay, thanks. Alyssa, I missed a few from the beginning, though. I'm going to do them before step 2. Perfect. Adrian, sometimes it's really difficult to deal with how I respond. So we're going back to anger, right, Adrian? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the issues we had from before were focused with anger. Because if that's the case, you're going to love step 2. Step 2, we talk about emotions. And I've said this before with anger. It's about getting to the bottom of things. So, you know, you might just be not asking yourself the right questions. Okay. You might not be asking yourself the right questions. So look at it like this. We know anger is a reaction, it's not an emotion. So when we break down anger, we know it comes from 2 parts, sadness and fear. So when you look at conversations that got heated, take away the anger. What was really going on in that conversation that brought it to that caliber? Why was it getting heated? Were you not able to have an open mind? Was the person you were dealing with not able to have an open mind? There must have been fear or sadness there to some degree. And at the end of the day, if you know that you've had an open mind and you were not combative, because let's face it, guys, there are people out there that are combative. There are people out there that just love that argument, that are so filled with fear and sadness, that it's just a way for them. It's a way for them to protect themselves. So at the end of the day, sometimes it's better just to listen, and if you feel that you're a person who is not so receptible to that, or it will trigger you, there's nothing wrong with walking away peacefully, calmly. But there's nothing wrong with that right now if you're just not ready for it. Yes, I've been out since 2005 and created a new personality of civilian and locked away the soldier, and it seems to react on difficult situations. So, I get that. One of my closest friends is a police officer. It is somewhat difficult for him to transition into the off duty, on duty. It becomes part of who you are, right? I think what you've gone through in the war, in order to survive it, you had to take it on fully. Um, you really had to take it on. So I can appreciate that and I understand that, Joshua. I do. Um, but why don't you take the good from it? Why don't you take what you've learned from it that can help you in life, as opposed to the defensive or offensive side of it, in a way of a combative nature or response? Soldiers are obviously very disciplined. Um, and a lot of times, I think maybe when you think back to being a soldier, a lot of the PTSD is carried over with that. So I can already tell, just from the energy, like I said, that you're texting, that when you picture that or you go into that mode, you're picturing yourself in full gear. You're picturing yourself in full uniform. And that's when that comes out. But you need to start looking at the positive aspects of that. You've obviously learned quite a bit from going to war. Um, One of the things that I'm hoping that you did learn is the value and appreciation of life. If you look at the war and you look at what you were subjected to, and you look at what you didn't have while you were there, what you had to fight for, when you look at little things like food, rations, as simple as going and lying in a big, comfortable bed. These are the things, Joshua, that you need to pay attention to. These are the things that you need to really, truly, deeply appreciate. Yes, Alyssa, I've been able to realize how afraid of nothing that I really am. I'm learning to jump into things without so much hesitation, rely on myself more, and overall do the things that I want, things that I was afraid to do before. Alyssa, that is remarkable, and you're only on step 1. Absolutely remarkable. I'm very, very, very proud of you. Exceptional, exceptional. So continue forward. They say that we should do one thing every day that scares us. Life, when we think about life, one of the greatest things, like we've said, one of the number one ask questions on Google. What is the meaning of life? You know, how amazing is that? That is the number one asked question, and yet nobody has had an answer for that. You know, and we can go into hours about that topic. I mean, are people trying so hard to figure out what the meaning of life is, and they're actually missing it? You know, um, but we are constantly in a state of anxiety, whether we like it or not. You know, not just us who are suffering from anxiety, but I'm talking about the general public. Just because of how life is, just because of how life gets. This is the thing, though. I wrote something today because I was going to use this for TikTok. Things just keep coming to me, and when I see them, I write them down. So I wrote this today, and I still haven't worded it correctly, but it's just something that resonated with me that I was thinking about. What if I told you that the hardest thing you had to do today would be the easiest thing to do for a better life? And all that meant was be your true, authentic self. Because that is one of the hardest things to do, because, more and more I've noticed people forget who that really is. And it goes right back to, guys, the difference between vulnerability and being naive. That's what it goes back to. We become naive. Each and every one of us. And there's no denying that. Times to you. Things will always change. The second you are able to be vulnerable, your entire life and existence will change. So that's something I thought of today, that I was trying to figure out a way to throw that into a TikTok. And you know what? I might just throw some music over top of it and say it. So yes. So, any more questions? And no more questions. I will get you guys back into, doing follow up. I have a problem with accepting that there is no discipline and abundance of disorder. You can create your own discipline, though, Joshua. Why do you find it difficult to create your own discipline? Because that's what it should be. So, abundance of disorder. So you have an opportunity here to create whatever it is that you would like. Do you find yourself, though, somebody who needs that structure and that schedule? Like, would you ever be able to own your own company? Or would you feel comfortable working for somebody else? And I know there's a lot of delay here, guys, so I'm sorry. Thanks. I was so afraid to do things such as jogging. I convinced myself I didn't like it because I was afraid of people seeing me, what they thought about me, how I looked, etc. So you realize, though, that these are false realities now that you understand what they are, right? Both with the guidance and rules. So you need guidance. You need those rules. Okay. But why aren't you setting them for yourself? Why don't you take your control back? Take your control back. Set your own discipline. Set your own rules. Have these goals set out for yourself. I think, Joshua, that will help you a lot. That will really help you grow as a person. If you're able to set your own goals and make up your own rules for yourself, I think that would change a lot. A lot. Do you think it's we definitely got to talk. I definitely would love to have a one-on-one with you, because I don't know the energy, if it's just because of what's going on in the room and everybody else that's in here. But do you feel that maybe somebody being disciplined and setting those rules for you is a way of them showing that they care about you and they love you? Do you feel that at all? Do you feel that comfort? And like I said, I don't want to get into this here, but I think there's a lot here with your childhood. And I'm sorry for doing this, but when things come to me, I gotta say them, or else it just bothers me. But I see you as a lonely child. I think there's really something going on with your childhood. They seem so universally like everyone should know. But what do you mean? Alyssa, I am on step 2, but you're further than me on that part. I still have a lot of self consciousness about what other people think. Yeah. But that will come, Karen. Everybody's on their own path and own journey, of course. And I know you understand that. And sometimes things are going to be easier than others. I don't think there's anybody in this room that is going to jump on an airplane and fly 22 and a half hours like you did. But there are people in this room that might go and grab a spider and you would run far away from them. So everybody is exactly where they're supposed to be. And I think all of you are doing an outstanding job. Outstanding. I don't know if I said got back to Michael Donnelly, followed us on TikTok. Yeah, Michael, you will see a lot. We do go live on TikTok a lot. We do. And we give away a lot. Like I get disruption from delays in lost items and lack of responsibility. Okay, so this is the anxiety that is causing this. This is what this is. You need to have that control, and you feel a lack of control because the rules are not set. So once again, Joshua, you need to create those own set of rules. You need to make your own world of this world that you want to abide by. That's on you, my friend. You can do it. You can do it. And you just need to build from it. Hell yeah, I would be gone so fast a trail of fire would follow. Yes, but there's a lot of people that wouldn't do a almost 24-hour flight. And I'm not talking about a 10-hour flight and 50 about a 24-hour flight. So 22 and a half. God bless you. So yes, so Joshua, I'm going to regurgitate that again because I really want you to understand. I really think you need to set your own set of rules and your own discipline, and I think you will be happy. I think you will be happy, and you'll start appreciating things differently, and you will start loving yourself once you set those goals. You're setting your own goals, and when you accomplish those, you're going to love yourself. There's no different than helping somebody else achieve goals. When you're helping somebody else achieve goals, wow. Like when you guys are on here and you guys are telling me that, how productive you are and these things that you're doing, you don't think the love gets thrown across this room? I love it. I love it. So imagine doing that for yourself, how much you're going to start loving yourself again. Some days are better than others. Sometimes something I did yesterday, I struggle to do again the next day. That's because you got to keep doing it. I've been really forcing myself because I've just hit a point where I've missed out on so much. And I also never realized how much it has affected my relationship with those around me. There's days when I still get anxiety attacks out of nowhere, and it's going to happen. We got to be mindful of pattern, adjusting, foods we're eating. There is a lot of factors there, Alyssa, but it does get easier. I promise you. Adrian, Amanda was the winner of the first step, but decided after speaking with her to buy the full program. She's fighting cancer and does talk in the chat room. Wow, Adrian, good for you. You're a sweetheart, man. How come she hasn't been in any of these chats? Is she completing is she taking the program? Like, is she going through it? It'd be nice to see her on here on the lives. Or maybe I think Amanda is she the one from the UK? So it might be really late for her, right? Karen, Alyssa, I have a feeling we would get along well. Oh, yes, that's for sure. She's in treatment. Oh, I think, is that the one we sent money to for her to get heat? I think there was somebody in there. I can't remember. I think it was her. um, we sent money to because she was going through chemotherapy and she couldn't heat her house. Karen, maybe we can connect in the group chat. Absolutely. She's a single mom with 2 kids. I think that's her. Joshua, oh, so assist in the organizational responsibility so I don't feel OCD. Of course. You got it right on there, brother. It's you. This is your life. Look around you right now, Joshua. Look around you. That's all yours. Do something with it. Look in a mirror, Joshua. That's yours. Do something with it. Don't wait for anybody else to do that. Don't wait for anybody else to set those. You do that. When you set those little goals, it is incredible the amount of love and self-respect you start to have for yourself. We aren't in the same group chat. You guys will be. This is what we're doing. I thought we were. No, you guys will be, and that's why we're putting the groups closer together. Adrian, she's doing great on the program, and we talk almost every day when she's feeling up to it. That is amazing to hear, Adrian. Good for you. That is awesome, brother. I'm so happy to hear that. So happy to hear that. Joshua, that made sense though, right? You get what I'm saying, buddy? Break the cycle of neglect on my end. Stop pointing fingers. Stop using excuses. Absolutely. Absolutely. All the above, my friend. All the above. It's your life. It's nobody else's. And I can appreciate, Josh, that you come from a world of command, right? I appreciate that. I get it. You come from a world of command where they take their command very seriously. They have to. I get it. But now you're not in that world and you're in yours. So you take the command. And it's just a simple navigation of changing the mindset and the principles of what was then serving and what is now not serving civilian. And you can do it, bro. I know you can do it, my friend. I know you can. If you can get through a tour, you can definitely get through this, brother. There's some days my anxiety gets the best of me and I get demotivated and find it hard to regain that motivation. Anthony, how do you motivate yourself? So there are days where, you know what, you just want to sit there and do nothing. And I get that. It's going to happen because the days that you are actually doing stuff takes a lot of energy, right? Because it is different. Just remember, you're getting further ahead. It's okay if you need to take those days. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you keep looking back at where you were, where you came from, where you are now, and more importantly is where you want to go. So pay close attention to that. I have my days where like, nope, I don't want to do anything, and my wife will see it and she'll be like, let's go for your drive. Or, Brianna, our adopted girl, she will go out and buy me a bunch of my favorite snacks and we'll just veg out. That's it. Cause there's nothing wrong with that. It does become overwhelming. Just be mindful. Be mindful that you're not falling back into those patterns of comfortability, right? It's comfortable here. I'm safe here. Make sure you know why you're doing it. One of my clients called today and said, hey, listen, I was thinking of doing something and my mom wanted to ask for your approval first. Thought it was good. I said, what's up? She's like, it's just been very overwhelming with school. And I thought I can take a couple mental health days. And I'm like, a couple? She's like, yeah, Thursday and Friday. I'm like, well, that's going to be 4 days off. That's ridiculous. So she understands because it has been overwhelming. She is in the program. There's a lot of personal stuff going on with her. So she understands that it's okay. And I'm like, listen, no, you're an honor student. So at least take your honor programs. So tomorrow you have one, then just at least take that one. The next day you have two, then take those two. Because you want to make sure that you're doing it for those right reasons. That, hey, listen, just taking a break. I want to, reorganize myself. I just need that rest. I need to, fill my cup back up. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Once again, as long as you're not falling into that patterned behavior. Okay. Take authority of myself and command my own responsibility, because it is your responsibility, Joshua. It is your responsibility. We cannot put this responsibility of anything we do our life on anybody else. We can't. It's your responsibility, right? It's your own life. You need to take control. You need to make those decisions. You can't blame the army. You can't blame your training. You can't blame your parents. You can't blame anybody where you are right now, because you can change that. I said the other day, why me can either make you or break you. Just those two words. Why me? That can make you or break you. If you're constantly like, oh, why me? Why me? Why me? Why does this always happen to me? Why me? You're just playing victim. Instead of taking that responsibility, taking that ownership and saying, why me? I command me. It's me. Why is this happening to me? What do I need to change? What is not working? What can I do differently here? Because these are the aspects in my life that I am not happy with. But these are the aspects that might have been working for me in the past. This is why, as you go through the steps, you'll start to understand, because in the beginning, it does sound very confusing. Because then you will, like later on, you might start getting a little mad at yourself, a little upset at yourself, saying, what am I doing? I just wasted all this time. I'm not happy where my life is. That's a great thing. That's an amazing thing. When you can say you're not happy with yourself, you're not happy with where your life is. Oh, guys, I don't think you understand how amazing that is. Why is that so amazing? I'll tell you, because you're taking the responsibility of understanding that you're not happy. Because there's so many people out there that are walking around thinking this is life. Those are the ones that become those bitches, those assholes that, that we look at and it's like, what the hell? I see it all the time. That's where I feel sorry for those people, because they must be living in their own personal hell. In order to change your mindset to such a degree that that's where you find your happiness, tells you a lot about a person. And I feel sorry for them. My heart goes out to them. Thinking about this subject makes me feel like I was so you weren't, but if you were you're alone and you have the training to survive. So there's definitely nothing wrong with that. Whatever you're thinking about or whatever is going on, there's a deeper issue there. So you really, really need to tap into that. And it is freeing to experience. Is that what you're saying? Freeing. Yes. Extremely. Extremely. Yeah. Guys, I would love some topics before next week that if anybody would like to talk about, please. Are you going live today? I think I might. I know you guys love watching the lives. Maybe we'll jump on the live right now. Everybody here, I'm almost guaranteed everybody here is following us on TikTok. I know you guys love our lives. So we'll jump on a live there. But guys, please feel free to email me if you have any questions regarding the app, or you want me to get into anything deeper. I would love to hear from you. I love how you guys are very open. I'm glad that there aren't many questions. It does warm my heart. It makes me happy to know that there aren't many questions, that you guys are actually getting it. It's simplified to a degree that it doesn't encourage frustration. right? It's helping you, which is great. But I'll jump on there. And I'll talk to you guys soon. I will see you all for sure next Wednesday, as usual. If not, I'll see you on TikTok when we go live. And reach out, guys. If you guys ever need to book a session, you know, it's all on our website. If you guys need anything on the technical end, Roger would love to help you. All our emails are there. I love you all. I think you guys are doing amazing. Continue to be you, and let's move forward. See you guys soon. Love you all. Bye, everybody.